Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of WrestleZone, and today I am joined by your number one contender to the PWA Heavyweight Championship, Big Fudge. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am so good to be catching up with you all the way from the other side of the world. It is afternoon your time. It is late night here, but I'm always used to that when I'm talking to my favorite Australians. This is my first time sitting down with you. You have such a fun backstory in the ring and outside of it. But before we get into any of the wrestling stuff, I am dying to know the story behind your social media at Butt Puncher. What is the story or the meaning behind your affinity for punching butts, my friend?
uh, you know, I'm not the first guy to do the butt punch. I think there was a gentleman called Beef Wellington in the American independent scene quite a long
Yeah.
time ago. He used to do what was called the ass punch back then, and he would
Yes.
do it from the top rope. But it was such a unique move. I never saw anyone do it. Like, so really, I did it just to stand out. But also, it's funny to me because if I punch someone in the butt, probably hurts them to sit down for a few days or whatever. So even if I walk away with a loss that night, I'll still walk away feeling good about the fact that they won't be able to sit down properly for a few days.
Well, I have to point out on the opposite end of that, I'm sure there's been a few butts that have maybe caused some damage to your knuckles. So I'm curious if you've had
Look,
any instances there where that has happened.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, some people definitely train the glutes hard, train the butt. They have that definition, and I get humbled when I try and punch their butt. Look, there's actually I could name a fair few people. One that comes to mind a couple of years ago, we had Zaria in
Yeah.
PWA.
She's
She was a
jacked, so
visitor,
that doesn't surprise me.
100%. Yeah. So I got quite a shock when I punched her in the butt. It still hurt her, but it hurt me just as much. Um, yeah, there's only been maybe a few people that have been like immune to the butt punch, but it's got a pretty high success rate. Doesn't matter how much you squat, you're going down, you get hit with that butt punch.
Except for those with those rare few with the buns of steel. Um,
Yeah.
Shout out to Zaria. I have to say, I kind of throwback. I interviewed her shortly before she officially started with WWE. It's amazing to see, the progress she's had, obviously through Australia, but now on the main stage. What has it been like? I'm sure you're all rooting her on, but what has it been like seeing her progress in NXT so far?
Crazy because she skyrocketed so quick, but I feel like I've seen a pattern with a few Australians that get to a big stage and then they kind of surpass the position they're put in very quickly and they're up to bigger and better things. So Zaria's killing it. Bronson Reed's killing it. Grayson Waller's killing it. Kyle Fletcher's killing it over in AEW. Robbie Eagles just won the junior tag team titles again. I think that was the third time at
Yeah.
Wrestle Kingdom. Aussies are popping off all over the world.
Yeah, like I was telling you a bit off air, I myself have been a fan of the Aussie scene for it's been about 7 years now. It's definitely boomed, but still at the same time, I feel like it's underrated. It doesn't always get the spotlight that it deserves. So as someone who's been in the scene for over a decade now, who are some names that you think people should be taking notice of right now?
Oh, I'm probably going to have some like bias towards PWA. So excuse me for that because there are so many incredible
Yeah.
Australians all over. Someone that stands out to me is a guy called Kai Drake.
Yeah.
Incredibly intense performer, but also he can be incredibly entertaining when he chooses to be. Um, I'm not sure. It's hard. I don't want to get into a thing where I'm going to name 20 people, and I don't want to get into a thing where I name like no one either. I feel like I can't do everyone credit. Another person I'll name drop is someone we just had. He trained with us for a year and he's just gone back to France. His name is Leeds Lewis.
Yeah, I
So,
saw him on your Instagram, I believe.
right, he's going to be a really big deal one day. I've got no doubt about that. A lot of us back in the Pro Wrestling Academy have no doubt about that. Incredibly talented. You've probably seen the dropouts are popping off
Yes.
in a big way. Shay Cassidy is killing it right now. Um, But yeah, I've got a lot of PWA bias in my answers. If I go to the other side of the country, guys like James Hartness and Jesse Lambert are really crushing it right now, making big waves over there. We have so many talented female professional wrestlers in this country. I think we've got some of the best in the world. So I think in every single state, they're popping off. Another person that stands out to me is a young lady called Amber over in Adelaide. She's got a bit of like a dark, gothic, mysterious thing going on for her. She's scary. I got to wrestle her last year, and she beat me up pretty bad. Actually, I was walking funny for a few weeks after that one. But yeah, look, I've got to stop myself before I just the entire podcast could be me putting people over, but also I'd still be forgetting people because we've like you've said yourself, we're still underrated despite the
Yeah.
fact that we've got so many success stories and increasingly so that are popping off on all these big stages because we're very isolated at the bottom of the globe. It's just the way it is. But very grateful to have had you supporting us for 7 years and having so many people interviewed for you to showcase shine a light onto Australian wrestling. We all really appreciate that. And I appreciate you helping us out. Does a big job for us because it's hard
Abs-
making noise. It's hard getting people overseas to pay
yeah.
attention to us. It's like in this country, it's hard enough to get people to pay attention, but overseas, forget about it. It's so tough. So I think we really have some of the best wrestlers in the world here. We need that attention. We need that spotlight.
Yeah, and it's been really fun because more and more stuff has been accessible in recent years. God bless YouTube and all of that. PWA, you can go back even now, it'll be like very, very, very early morning here, usually their shows are. But the beauty is us in the States, we can always go back and watch the live stream after the fact. So that's how I've been catching up. Funny story, you mentioned Kai Drake. This is like it's one of my first memories of the Australian scene. I don't remember who he
Right.
was wrestling, but it was in some venue that had a short ceiling and a chandelier right above the ring. And I think he jumped off the top rope and the chandelier broke. And that is one of my first memories of Australian wrestling. And I was like instantly hooked. Like, what is, just the
I know
craziness.
the exact promotion you're talking about. That would have been Future Wrestling Australia. And
Yeah.
I think they had a few chandelier incidents.
Yeah. FWA. Yeah.
Yeah, but Kai Drake, very destructive individual.
Yeah.
Things don't tend to stay intact too long if he's around. So, not surprised the chandelier didn't last.
Sometimes you just got to do it for the good of wrestling. RIP Chandelier, that might have been 2019-ish. RIP. Um,
Sounds about
but
right. Yeah. Gone but
but
not
you
forgotten.
you have shown a spotlight on a lot of cool names. We're going to spotlight you, of course, because, like we alluded to on January 17th, you will have the opportunity to punch the butt of the prime target in PWA, that being the PWA Heavyweight Champion, Charli Evans, aka Chevs, when you vie for the title at PWA Hottest 100 Party. You pinned Chevs at PWA kick-ons after I think it was a cooler. It was like this, what is it, a metal cooler to the head she took? And then you choke slammed her. Take us back to that moment, first of all. What was going through your mind? You just pinned the PWA heavyweight champion.
Definitely disbelief because Chevs, I didn't mention her just now when you asked me about like the top people I see coming out of this country because she already is one of the top people,
Yeah.
not just in
Across the
Australia, but in the
world. She's been
world.
everywhere. Yeah.
One of the best wrestlers in the world, without a doubt, in my eyes. So I'm kind of scared of Chevs. I won't lie, but to pin her, I kind of surprised myself, and it meant a lot to me because uh, I haven't had an opportunity for the PWA Heavyweight Championship since my debut match 10
Yeah.
years ago. That's
Yeah.
my only time competing for that belt. So when I pinned her, I knew, okay, there's a chance of me maybe getting another shot at this now. And then to see that becoming a reality, mind shattering. I can't put it into words how much it means to me just to get another chance. I've come close to getting another chance a
Yeah.
couple times, and I've kind of ruined it for myself or I've dropped the ball. But now it's on, and this is without a doubt the biggest match of my life. And I'm terrified, but I'm excited. And me and Chebs have some history as well
You do.
because when she started out in the Australian scene, I was starting out around the exact same time. So we crossed paths a bunch of times before she left and became a megastar overseas. Um, and she's come back, and I haven't really crossed paths with her since she's come back. And she's a completely different competitor now. She is, I don't know, she has this aura about her. And I don't know if she's going to make me tap out or if she's going to try and stab me in the head with something, but I know it's going to be an uphill battle. And it's not just her I'm fighting North Shore Wrestling.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing is, as talented as Chebs is, for whatever reason, last year she took the easy road. She paired up with
Yeah.
North Shore Wrestling, and now she's more unstoppable than ever before. So uphill battle I'm fighting. I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm not trying to make promises. I'm not coming in saying I'm 100% going to win the belt, but I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to leave that match proud whether I win or lose.
Well, luckily, it seems that you do have some allies you just teamed with. You mentioned Shea Cassidy earlier, Jessica Troy,
Yes,
Mick Moretti. So you might have some backup in your corner as well. You never know.
I need that because it's a numbers game, and North Shore Wrestling right now has the numbers. So I need all the help I can get. So if it comes down to it, I might need some backup. I might need some people I can rely on. So we'll see what happens. It's quickly coming down to it where it's happening this weekend. I don't
Yeah.
know when this is going to drop, but yeah, it's crunch time now. Everything, every move matters. So the pressure is on. I feel it on my shoulders. I feel like so many people are sick of North Shore Wrestling and Chebs and what they're doing to PWA. So I feel like I have this responsibility to bring change into PWA and make PWA fun again, get rid of the North Shore Wrestling problem. So I'm going to do everything I can to walk away with that PWA Heavyweight Championship, take Chebs down, take North Shore Wrestling down, and make all the PWA fans that have supported me over the last 10 years proud to call themselves Big Fudge supporters. Let's see how I go. I'll talk to you in a week and we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, you mentioned in your pre-show statement that we're looking for we're looking at a face of change. Now, we're gonna say when you defeat Chevs for the title, what can the people expect to see from you in your reign, and what changes do you think you'll bring to PWA?
Look, like a true politician, I talk a big game, but I haven't actually thought through what are going to be the big changes because to me, the reality of Big Fudge being champion is always something like, if I'm being honest, has been really far fetched. As much as I would love for that fantasy to become a reality, it's something I've only dreamed of. And I've seen so many talented people hold that PWA Heavyweight Championship. And I've seen so many talented people never get close to holding that
Yeah.
championship. And I'm trying to think, where do I fit into that picture? So if I win that belt, I want to be someone that defends that belt with honor and pride and is someone that can be a face of the PWA community, be someone that the fans can be proud of, be someone that the people in the locker room can be proud of. As I feel like this is real generic babyface shtick I'm giving you here. I'm going to be like shaking hands, kissing babies, doing all the good stuff I can do. Um, I I I can't do any of that though until I make this dream a reality, and I'm still not sure if I can. I'm trying to be very realistic with my expectations here, and I know this is not an easy thing. This is not going to be an easy battle I'm doing,
Yeah.
and I've talked a lot of shit throughout my whole career. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear or
You
not.
can. Yeah.
Apologies. I've talked so much smack my entire career, and I've talked myself up in such big ways, and now it's kind of a situation where I have to be very realistic and very honest to myself in a way that I haven't always been. So having that championship would mean everything to me. It would be the most validating moment of my entire career if I could make that dream a reality. Let's see what happens. Chebs ain't going to give it up easy.
Well, regardless of the outcome, like you said, this will be a full circle moment for you because you challenged for the very title in your debut wrestling match against Jack Bonza. it may not have gone your way, but I'm so curious, how did you end up getting such a big opportunity literally so early on in your career?
That's a great question. And I'm keen to talk about this because this is a story that's kind of been long forgotten for pretty much 10 years until now. So, Jack Bonza was the reigning PWA champion in 2015. And it was getting to the point where I was ready to debut. And the bookers only knew me by the name Big Fudge at the time. They didn't really know who was going to walk out the curtain. Does that make sense? So there was a big mystery. So what actually happened was Jack Bonza had a match announced against Big Fudge, and there was just a silhouette of a very large, jacked individual. And it was announced as a PWA Heavyweight Championship match. And I sent in kind of like a mysterious, like a vignette, a promo, where I kind of distorted my voice. I didn't show my face or my appearance or anything like that to try and make myself seem like a much bigger threat than I actually was. So no one really knew who Jack Bonds was wrestling on this night. And then I walked out the curtain and everyone saw me in my bright pink attire with my chocolate bar coming out of my head. And people got a very quick idea of who Big Fudge is. Um, so I mean, realistically, since that match, some elements of who Big Fudge is have very much remained the same.
Yeah.
Those 10 years on, I got in the ring with him, and he was a veteran back then.
Yes.
You know, that was my first
Even
day.
more
He
so
was,
now, yeah.
of course, even more so now. But he didn't take long to put me away. I think about 30 seconds did the trick, and very unusual and rare circumstances for someone to have their debut match. Like you said, who would have their debut match for the heavyweight championship? You never hear of that happening. So I kind of always had bittersweet feelings about it because, on one hand, I always felt like I was set up as a punchline, like a joke from the very first time I wrestled. But on the other hand, I thought there was something special about the fact that I could say my first ever match was for the PWA Heavyweight Championship. How many people can say they've done that? So, some conflicting feelings there. And I've been very much confronting those conflicting feelings now that I've got this match with Chevs. And I'm thinking a lot about that match and who I was 10 years ago and who I am today. And I've experienced a lot of growth. I've overcome a lot of obstacles and demons, and I'd like to think I'm a lot more prepared now than I was the first time I walked out the curtain 10 years ago and had that opportunity. So, very, very weird debut story. Lots of people have weird debut stories. I
Yeah.
feel like I can absolutely relate to that. And now it makes us feel like it's my destiny to get back here. As long as it took me to get back here, as much of an uphill battle as it was, and I've struggled tremendously in my career. I've walked away probably historically as a loser from most of my matches. I have. You can look up the statistics. But here I am, despite all that. I'm too stupid and stubborn to have given up by now. I'm still going. And now, 10 years later, I get one more opportunity at that championship. So now that I've had a taste of how hard it is to come by that championship and get a championship opportunity, I can't let this slip. You understand that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make the most of this. I'm trying to be honest to myself. I'm trying to use my growth from these 10 years and from that match I first had against Bonza 10 years ago. And I don't want to feel like a punchline again. So if I lose in this match against Chevs, it's not going to be in 30 seconds. I'll say that much.
Yeah, going from punching line to punching your ticket to the PWA Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
You might be a mind reader, by the way, because I was going to ask, 10 years going on 11 actually, is a lot of time for personal growth. So how do you think you've grown as a person and as a competitor since that debut match in 2015?
Maybe I've grown a lot more in self-awareness because for a long time I was really naive to who I am, who is Big Fudge. And I didn't realize the perception of me. And the perception of me is I'm a silly, goofy guy. And that's my job, and that's all I'm here to do. And don't get me wrong, I love entertaining people. There's nothing more rewarding to me than making people laugh. I feel like that is one of the best feelings in the world. But I've had a limit, a roof placed over me my whole career because of this perception of who I am and what I can do because of that. And in recent years, I've had some big opportunities, and I don't think the old Fudge that was younger and less self-aware would have realized those opportunities like I have now because I didn't understand who I am and what I'm capable of doing like I do today. Um, so not to say I always want to be a super serious wrestler because wrestling has enough of that. And I
Yeah.
think wrestling should be fun. And I want wrestling to be fun. I want to make wrestling fun, but I also know I'm capable of doing so much more and I have done so much more. So I think every loss I've walked away with the last 10 years has given me a lesson that's helped me advance towards this point. And because I had so many losses, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm lucky to be in a point where I'm one of the older guys in the locker room, which is weird because I don't know how it happened. I blinked and I got there where I'm like one of the more experienced
You're
people
still in
now.
your younger 30s too, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I don't know how I got to this position, but now I'm here. I've learned all these lessons, I've experienced all this growth. I think I used to fake a lot of confidence. I used to throw my muscles up.
Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I think that would come out of a place of insecurity because as much as I like to say Big Fudge is this big, massive character, I know what I am. So I would project something that I'm not. But now I don't need to fake confidence because I have this real confidence inside of me and I know what I can do. I know that when I put on this mask, I can be anyone I want to be and I can do anything I want to do. So a lot's changed. 10 years, 10 years, almost 11, like you said. I like to say
Yeah.
10 years because we're not quite at that 11-year mark
Yeah.
yet. But I everything has happened for a reason to lead me to this point. I'm a believer in things happen for a reason. And as much as I've experienced the shorthand of things in my career and some I've experienced a lot of losses, I've experienced a lot of unfortunate um, not really pleasant situations in my career in the ring. I've learned and I've grown from all of them. And now I am the person I'm meant to be here today. And hopefully that's enough to make me walk away as the PWA Heavyweight Champion.
Well, we've talked a lot about your history, the future potentially. We're just a few days away from PWA Hottest 100 party. What are your final thoughts heading into this match about Chevs before we get into the rest of the card?
Um, Hard to put in words. This is the big time. This is really where I've got to put my money where my mouth is. And I've really got to see if I can become a main event player when it counts the most. Because for the longest time, Big Fudge has been a small part player. I've been, he's just a silly little guy. He's just some side attraction. He's just some light entertainment. But now here I am, the main event for the biggest championship in the country. This is the biggest match of my life. I'm training as hard as I can. I'm trying my best to prepare myself for this moment and take it all in and make the most of it. I can't do it by myself. The fans have helped me get to this point. And as much as I believe in myself now, the fans believed in me before I ever believed in myself. So without them, I'm nothing. So when it comes to January 17th, I need them more than ever before. And I'm hoping that I'm going to have some Fudge maniacs in the crowd supporting me. And maybe we can all stand tall at the end of the night, happy and proud. Chevs, I'm going to give her everything I've got. I'm going to fight as hard as I can fight. And win or lose, I want to walk away proud after 10 years in this business of getting back to where I began and feeling my growth, feeling my progress. But I really, really, really want to walk away with that championship. I really want to make that dream a reality.
You should. It's going to be a celebration, as it should. We're going to have some DJs at the show. It's going to be,
Yep,
it's a summertime for you guys, so it's kind of like a summer party.
it
Like
is.
I alluded to, this is a really stacked card that I'm looking forward to. We obviously have a dumpster match, Scott Green versus social media star Latchy McIntyre. We have Mick Moretti and Ben Braxton, which, by the way, Ben Braxton has been like slowly climbing up the ranks, I've seen, especially over the last year. So it's been really fun to see his progression. We obviously have Aaron Jake facing PPK, and we got a few other matches. So I have to ask, other than your own, what match are you most looking forward to and why?
This is a stacked card, isn't it? It's PWA does a really good job when we put a black label card together in
Yeah.
particular. Every black label card, I feel like, is just banger match after banger match. Um, I'm really interested in Ben Braxton and Mick Moretti. Mick Moretti has taken a bit more of a backseat this last year in terms of stepping away slightly, but kind of lightly dipping his toes into wrestling. And I think he's still got a lot more to give. I think the Australian wrestling scene owes a lot of credit to Mick Moretti for kind of waving that Australian flag as much as he did. And Ben Braxton is one of the top prospects in the country. So I think that's going to be an incredible match. Moretti was the first Coliseum winner.
Yeah.
Braxton is the first entrant announced for this year's Coliseum tournament. So I think if Braxton can walk away with the win over Moretti, he's kind of setting himself up nicely for that Coliseum tournament. But on the other hand, if Moretti beats Braxton, then maybe that really hurts Braxton going into the Coliseum tournament. You also mentioned Scott Green and Lockie McIntyre in a dumpster match. I don't know if you know about me, Ella, you've done your research, but at one point in time, I was known as the garbage man and I was the sanitation commissioner for PWA. So I'm heavily invested in this match alone, just in the fact that there's a dumpster, there's a big pile of garbage involved. That's my forte. And Scott Green has been doing huge things in the dropouts, and he's also about to be a huge star on Australian Survivor soon. Lockie McIntyre,
What?
yes.
Okay, so I'm a Survivor fan.
Are
I
you
just
really?
watched, yeah, so I don't get crossed. That is awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. So he has been announced for
Oh,
Australian Survivor, which is the same show that Grayson Waller
yeah.
was a former
Maddie
participant
Wahlberg,
on.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to see how he does on that. I'm excited to see how he does against Lockie McIntyre, who I think is just, he has one of the most punchable heads I've ever seen in wrestling, which is saying a lot. There have been a lot of punchable heads, but there's just something about Lockie McIntyre's face that makes him despicable. Something about it. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
You also mentioned PPK and Aaron Jake having a singles match, which is interesting. PPK have started identifying as one performer.
Yes, they have.
And we saw a bit of that at our previous event, Kick Ons, when they wrestled Xander Sullivan. And now they're wrestling my best friend, or who I thought was my best friend, Aaron Jake. He's a bit of a shit friend sometimes, Aaron Jake.
Mm.
But I'm interested to see Aaron Jake, how he fares against PPK in this singles match. I think I was trying to extend the olive branch of friendship for so long to Aaron Jake, and he kept throwing it back in my face. And maybe on January 17th, he might really regret not having a friend like
Karma's
me.
you know what?
Yeah, 100%. But PPK, extremely underrated acts in Australian pro wrestling. I could have easily mentioned them before with all the other amazing talent who are incredibly underrated in this country. I think that's going to be a banger match as well. And I'm sure there'll be some other surprises on the night. So so much talent in the PWA roster, and they're all scratching to get on these black label cards.
Um,
And there's no way we can possibly showcase our entire roster, which is huge. And as much talent as we have, there's only so many people we can fit on each card. So the people that make it onto the cards very much try to perform in a way where they show they deserve their spot on that card. It's a very competitive, in a healthy way, environment. So I think it's going to be a great show. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I'll be stressed out of my mind on the day, probably try my best there for my
mm.
championship match, but I'll definitely keep my eyes on the rest of the show because I'm sure it's going to be tremendous.
I love the theme of this too, kind of the hottest 100 playing off of, I guess the temperatures too, but also like the hot 100 charts and music.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
have to ask, what does Big Fudge's music taste like?
Wild, unpredictable. I mean, if I have my Spotify if I have like my go-to playlist on random, it'll be like Limp Bizkit 1 second, and
Okay.
then like Katy Perry or Lady Gaga the next. Uh, Probably like a lot of like rock, metal, but then rap, but then girly pop. I don't know. I
Love
listen
that.
to it's a wild combination of stuff. Whenever I start to get bored with one genre, I can just bounce to the next. So it kind
Yeah.
of keeps me going. Especially with all these workouts. The time I listen to music the most is probably at the gym.
Yeah.
And I really find if I'm enjoying the music I'm listening to, I'm way more likely to have a better workout
Yeah,
than
you're
if
like,
I'm
yeah, you
yeah,
feel motivated.
definitely, 100%. So I definitely have days. It's weird. I'm sure other people can relate to this where just nothing's hitting for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm going through all my genres, I'm going through all my playlists, and nothing is doing it for me.
Yeah.
So I always like trying to find new stuff as well. But yeah, I think right now it's probably a lot of Limp Bizkit, probably a lot of I think Lady Gaga has been a lot in my rotations recently. And then
Icon.
probably
Yeah.
even like a lot of like 2000s like grunge and new metal and stuff like that has been recently in my playlists.
hmm I'm kind of the same way. The only genre I won't do is screamo because it kind of hurts my ears. But other than that, I will listen to basically anything. I'm kind of the same way, although like most of the time I do lean like pop country. I don't know why, it's just like my genre, but I do love me some Lady Gaga too. She is an absolute icon. Also had one of the hottest songs of 2025 with Abracadabra. So icon. If you obviously music and wrestling go hand in hand. So if you could collaborate with any band or artist to create a custom theme song, who would it be and what would the vibe slash sound be like, you think?
Oh, I don't know. See, there's no, you could
From the
ask
Big
me this
Fudge
question.
character.
You could ask me this question tomorrow or a week from now, and I'd have a different answer probably every day. I've been really into what's really been motivating me, other than like my girly pop, has been my
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit lately. I
Yeah.
don't know why. They've just been really doing it for me. I got to see them like a couple years ago, and they're an amazing performance. So I think because I really think like 2000s wrestling, Limp Bizkit, like those things are
Yeah.
just so strongly linked together. So and also I think Limp Bizkit also has like a slightly wacky energy about them too.
Mhm.
So for some reason, like a Big Fudge Limp Biscuit collaboration sounds great to me. I think that would be perfect.
I'd be here for it. Now they just need to at PWA raise the
Yes,
budget.
let's make it happen.
Kind of shifting away from wrestling a little bit. You have such an interesting background. I feel like you've done a lot of things in your life. But if you look back on Little Fudge. What did your younger self envision the older version of yourself doing when you got older? Was it, I know you watched wrestling growing up, was it always wrestling, or did you envision yourself doing something else for a career when you got older?
Um, the truth about this question is when I was little, I probably didn't think that much about growing up. And I probably didn't think
Mm,
specifically about, oh, I want to do this when I grow up, or I want to do that when I grow up. I think I had my interests that I strongly gravitated towards, and a lot of them were centered around storytelling. I
yeah.
think that's what really drew me towards wrestling. It was the storytelling aspect and the characters. So I've been a lifelong wrestling fan pretty much ever since I can remember. But I also used to really like writing stories when I was younger. I think that was one of my first ways of kind of expressing my creativity and kind of getting my outlet for storytelling. So I really liked, I just had like a bunch of like notebooks where I would just write story after story. And at school, whenever we were doing creative writing, I'd pop off on that. I really enjoyed that a lot. Um, I don't think I actually considered when I was younger the idea of growing up and becoming a wrestler because wrestling always seemed so much larger than life. So I don't think that was ever an idea that really crossed my mind until I probably started doing backyard wrestling when I was a little bit older. But even then, when I was doing backyard wrestling, I thought backyard wrestling was going to be it. I didn't think I would go on to be pro after that. I thought, oh, this is going to be it. I don't want to do pro wrestling. That seems like too much politics, too much drama. It's not going to be an easy road to get into that. It's going to be tough work. So I didn't think I was going to do it. The connection that actually got me there were people like Robbie Eagles specifically and Matt Diamond, who were backyard wrestlers that transitioned into pro wrestling and worked with Pro Wrestling Australia specifically. So if it wasn't for Robbie Eagles, I probably never would have turned pro and I definitely
Oh,
never would have come to PWA. So I
yeah.
owe that man a lot realistically. Um, because I saw him turn from a backyard wrestler into a pro wrestler. And that's when the light switch kind of flicked off in my head and thought, maybe one day I could do this as well. So because of him, I'm here now. I think honestly, I probably thought I would have been like when I was younger, like a writer or maybe even a movie director because I was obsessed with movies. But now I'm doing this and I'm in too deep now, like most wrestlers are. This is it. Uh, Wrestling takes so much energy. It's kind of this beast that never turns off. And even when you're not wrestling, there's always something else you can be doing for wrestling. So because it's such I don't know, like this effort draining, time draining and endeavor, um, it's wrestling is my main passion and it's my main outlet for creativity right now. But definitely wouldn't have considered when I was watching wrestling all those years ago, that could be me one day. Never crossed my mind once, to be honest.
You know, you mentioned wanting to be a part of creative projects. I feel like you were a few years ago, and I think it's still available. You and Concrete Davidson and actually inspired a comic book series titled Conco and the Fudge, which kind of blends together adventure with elements of pro wrestling. You're probably you are the first wrestler I've ever talked to who's kind of involved in any comic book project. Tell us more about your involvement in the creation of the comic book series.
Yeah. The way that came about was there was a tattoo artist who goes by the handle Goonie Tunes.
Yeah.
Um, and he started a merchandise company linked up with a few Australian companies called Gorilla Press Merch, I believe, where he started kind of he would get a few Australian wrestlers to be featured in his merchandise and make shirts and make cool stuff for them. And through that was when he became interested in making the comic. I think that was something he'd always wanted to do. He's an amazing artist and he's a very creative individual. But me and Concrete Davidson had this podcast
Yeah.
for a number of years, Conco and the Fudge. Um, and I think we were just a couple of really colorful, larger than life characters. And we had a lot of time interacting with him and hanging out with him at shows and stuff like that. So he figured we would be like good people to base this whole concept around, but it never really took off. What happened was we had one issue of the comic come out, which was incredible. I've still got copies of it to this day. Um, I believe Goonie Tunes collaborated with a number of artists to make it possible, and it was a real tedious process for him to get that comic book out. But when he got it out, he hustled and he got it out in a bunch
Yeah.
of different comic book outlets and stores, and he got us in like the Australian version of Comic Con, I guess, called Supernova. So he really got things moving, but he was at the time very busy with his tattoo work, and also he was a father at the time to a newly born baby, I
Oh
believe,
yeah.
or at the time the baby was on the way. So he knew it was going to be hard to put his energy and time into keeping the comic going as much as he wanted to. And there certainly was a plan for where the series was going to go. And we're going to have a lot of different Australian wrestlers involved as characters too. There were big plans for it, but unfortunately, uh, only ever got the first edition out. It had really good feedback. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. It really, they sold like hotcakes at merchandise at wrestling shows as well. But yeah, after that, unfortunately, it seemed like it was a one and done. But really, really fortunate to have been a part of that process. And it was one of those crazy things I look back on now. I think I take a lot for granted. I think in 10 years, so much can happen that you can be very quick to forget. And that's one of those things where I look back and I'm like, oh my God, there was a comic book about
Yeah.
me and one of my best friends. That's crazy. I can't believe that happened.
Not a lot of people can say that. That's like a
Yeah,
once in a lifetime. Even there, one is more than most people can say, one
that's it.
issue of a comic, that's rad. Are you a big fan? I know, like you mentioned, you're huge into TV and movies. I know you use that a lot of inspiration into your own like wrestling persona. Are you big into comic books as well, though?
Probably more so when I was younger,
Yeah.
definitely. And what happened was I kind of got burnt out because Marvel went real hard on the Marvel
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe
Yeah.
and they just kind of dominated the superhero genre. So because of that, I don't know, I got over the concept of every superhero movie is about the fate of the world being on the
Yeah.
line. You know what I mean? And all the same tropes I kept seeing time and time again. But I definitely am at heart a fan of superheroes and a fan of comic books. Um, I think probably my favorite growing up and still to this day is Batman.
Yeah.
I
Classic.
love that character. I think he's fascinating. I think one of the reasons why he's fascinating is because he doesn't actually have superpowers.
He has
His
a cool,
super,
cool Batmobile though, and
yeah, he's rich
yeah.
and he's good at fighting. But also he has a really troubled backstory
Yeah.
as to why he is Batman. He has such interesting depth about him, and I think he has such an interesting library of villains as well. So the Batman comics and movies and shows are probably like the main things I gravitate towards, like comic book wise, but there's still a lot of other stuff I appreciate as well. I've always been like a big Spider-Man fan as well, for example. I really enjoy that. But yeah, I think I've just had a bit of superhero fatigue lately.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of ironic. You're your own kind of superhero character, larger than life character now. You're a teacher in real life. So I'm so curious. Do your students know that you're basically a superhero yourself?
No, and they
No.
can't know. Yeah, they well, I try and keep those worlds apart as much as I
Yeah.
can. There's been a very small group of students that have found out. A couple have come to shows, and even though I wear a mask,
Yeah.
um, I'm really bad at keeping my anonymity because I have a very distinctive voice. I have like this
Yeah.
much of my face available as well.
True.
So a few people that I taught came to some shows and saw me and immediately recognized who I was. But also, last year there was a class I had. And I told them about it in an effort to kind of connect with them because they were a tricky class to connect with. And once I told them that, they definitely looked at me through a different light. But I think it's probably for the best that I keep those worlds apart
Yeah.
because Big Fudge is a character at the end of the day, and he is such a heightened, ridiculous, insane character. And if you go through the archives of all the stuff Big Fudge has done, he's done some pretty insane stuff. Some stuff for shows, 18 plus shows I'd rather the kids not see. Of course, Black Label events, they are intended to
Mm.
be viewed by adults. So I just feel like it's easier to keep those worlds apart. But now I've made peace with it. The secret is out. The main thing I was obsessed with for years was keeping my identity a secret and no one seeing my face. And that changed. And now I feel like the character, maybe not the character, but the opportunities for this character are bigger now than keeping the anonymity of this character, keeping it a secret. So that was a really hard thing for me to confront at first, but now I've made peace with it, and it's made my life a lot easier, to be fair. But it's still, I try to keep my school and my wrestling separate because they're two different people in my eyes,
Yeah.
basically. And I don't know if they will understand that what I do is for entertainment purposes.
True, you know. Um, like I said, it gives you you were talking about earlier, it gives you that escapism though, what for yourself and for the people watching at home. I totally get though, Big Fudge is this larger than life character. Real life is a whole other thing, but you get to live
Yeah.
out you get to live out your dreams. And it's interesting. You mentioned some of your memories with Big Fudge. You mentioned earlier that you've hosted a podcast. I know before it's one of my favorite clips. You did your best at interviewing with the banana as your microphone. That's one of my favorite videos ever. Do you ever think that we'll see the return of your podcast potentially?
I would like to, but now Concrete Davidson is busy being a father. He's got three beautiful kids. Um, and I think he's found a life outside of wrestling that he's
Yeah,
incredibly passionate about. He's working for a local football team called the
nice.
Bears, and they're a team that I know he supported his whole life.
Mm.
So now the fact that he can be working for them is incredibly meaningful towards him. But I keep nudging him. And every few months, I keep saying, "Hey, man, you still got like the wrestle fever? Are you still keen to come back one day? Who would you
Even
want to
just an
wrestle? What would you
anniversary
want to do?"
special, you know?
Yeah. So I'm trying to get him back to wrestling is one thing, but getting
Yeah,
him to do a podcast again is
yeah,
like probably even trickier because also to his credit, Conco was he was the main machine behind that podcast in terms of he was recording them, he was editing them, he was doing the graphics for them, he was doing the website for them. I would say like 85 to 90% of the work about the podcast was all done by Concrete Davidson. And then I would just lend my voice. So I tried to come as prepared as I could to those interviews. I'd always try to have notes and stuff for the guests, especially because in the early days, I wouldn't do that. And we had some trash interviews when we
you live
weren't
and you
prepared.
learn. I totally get it, my friend.
Yeah, I'm sure you've lived that life more than I have. So I would love to. And I've tried to talk him into doing some kind of reunion, some kind of special a couple times. It's not a completely, I wouldn't write the idea off completely, but it's going to take a bit of work to get there. I'd love it. I'd love it to happen though.
Well, I do have one suggestion. You might not want to, I know this is a separate thing, but you might not want to use a banana as a microphone. If you're doing in-person interviews anyway. That's my only suggestion.
Yeah, I feel like the banana didn't have the best kind of like audio output.
Yeah.
And I also, well, another problem with that piece of equipment was I ate it afterwards. So we had to
Yeah.
find a
You just got
replacement.
to
So
keep replacing it, yeah, it's not cost effective really.
yeah, no, I think I'd be down money because I'd be eating too many microphones. So Yeah. Oh, I'm really glad you did your research. It's nice because done interviews. I've done multiple interviews where people have spoken to me and they don't know a thing about me. I can just tell that before the interview started, they did not know anything about me. And it's kind of like, well, this interview is only ever going to get to like surface level. Oh, why did you start wrestling? Where did you get the name Big Fudge from? And kind of like all the same questions I'm always
I can tell
asked.
you that. How I Met Your Mother, I can tell you.
I'm glad you've done your research because you are a professional and it shows.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're talking about sweet treats. I would be
Yep.
remiss if we didn't talk about the sweet treat enthusiast. You also have the iconic chocolate bar, by the way. It's not, I
Yes.
know people have misinterpreted it as other things. The chocolate bar coming out of your iconic mask. I'm a big chocolate lover, so I have to know, what are your top 3 to 5 chocolates? Personal favorites.
Okay. All right. This is the
This
podcast
is the
now.
most important part. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me just stretch before we get into this part.
Okay.
Okay. I think right now, maybe my number one would be Kit Kat. I think
Okay.
I'm really
Iconic.
big. Yeah, I'm really big on my Kit Kats right now. Not right now because I'm trying to diet. So I look at Kit Kats
Treat
and I feel
yourself after you
sad.
win the title.
Yeah, oh, you bet I will if that happens. Let's see. Otherwise, I'll still treat myself. If I lose, I'll treat myself with like, a cold shower and like some ice cream while I'm crying, probably. But we'll see. So I'm really into my Kit Kats. I really like my Snickers in Australia. I don't think they have this overseas, but we've got these things called Snickers pods, which are just they're incredibly addictive. It's crack. It's amazing. They're like these little, I don't
Okay,
know how
look
to
this up
describe it.
now. I'm gonna look it
It's
up.
like these little wafer kind of coatings, and they have the chocolate inside. So you get the chocolate and the crunch.
Ooh,
Incredible.
wait, it looks good.
Yeah, they're
Ooh,
yum.
it's like a little bite-sized thing. I want that now.
Yeah. We also have like I know this chocolate is definitely uniquely Australian. We have Tim Tams. I love my
Yes,
Tim
I've heard of
Tams.
them.
You've heard of them, but you've
Yes,
never experienced a Tim Tam? Yeah.
I have not yet. I have a lot of Australian friends, but I've never been to Australia myself.
So Tim Tam is a cross between a chocolate and a biscuit. Incredibly addictive. I think their slogan is once you have one, you can't stop. And that's true because I can demolish. I think a packet comes in like 11 or 12, and usually I can like finish a packet like
Mhm.
that. Yeah. So I mean, I can keep going, but I should probably stop myself before this podcast really like runs over time. So I think right
No,
now my top three, sorry to cut you off.
no, you're good. I was gonna say we're not done talking about treats, so keep going.
Well,
I have a couple more
yeah,
questions.
I might just purely chocolate because I like all kinds of sweet
Yeah.
treats. I like my cakes. I like my ice creams.
Yeah.
There's a place that's opened up near me right now, and they do frozen custard, which is amazing. It kind of tastes like ice cream, but it doesn't. And they have all these amazing toppings on them. So I'm sure that they're called Drilled. Shout out to Drilled for all of my overseas listeners that are going to come to Australia and try Drilled, I'm sure. Um, so yeah, I'm a big sweet treat guy. My top three chocolates right now, I think Kit Kat, I think Snickers, I think Tim Tams are the top three spots right now.
So this is kind of a controversial topic in the sweet treat uh category. What are your thoughts on mint and chocolate or mint and ice cream? This is gonna
Ooh.
be the deciding factor in our friendship, Big Fudge.
Okay, I am very much sensing that you like mint chocolate. You don't? Well, we're
Hate it.
friends because
Hate
to
it.
me, what's the
Absolutely not.
point? What's the point? You just pour some toothpaste on top of your chocolate if you want some mint chocolate. You know, that's pretty much what you're doing. We're achieving the same thing here. I feel like the sensations of the mint and the chocolate, it's insulting. It's insulting to my taste buds. And I don't think I'm going to change. There are some things where like my taste buds mature. Like from
Yeah.
when I was younger, I have these ideas like, oh, I don't like this food, and I try it now, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. or even from like a few years ago. Like I used to hate coriander. I don't know what you guys call it over there. I know you guys do you guys call it coriander, or is that an American thing where they change the name of it to something else?
I don't know what that is. What
Maybe
is
I'm crazy.
that? I just don't know what it
It is.
is.
See, it's like a green type of like herb or plant that you have in like
Oh,
foods. What do they call? I reckon you guys call it something else over there.
pesto, basil,
Let me see.
parsley.
Don't know. Can't look it up. I don't want to kill
Okay.
the momentum of this conversation, but it was an insulting thing that I ate that I didn't like the taste of a few years ago, and I eat it now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh wow, I've changed a lot in a few years.
Yeah,
But
that's true growth.
I don't think I'm going to change with mint chocolate, though. I think I've made my bed with that. I don't think I'm going to change any
Thank you.
opinions there.
Thank you. I see, I like mint. I like toothpaste is good. Gum is fine. Totally fine with mint. Not with my chocolate and not with my ice cream. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I do because I'm with you. I like gum and I like the sensation of like, oh, I brushed my teeth. This is like a fresh
Yeah.
minty
Yeah.
feeling, but not with chocolate. Please don't ever do that.
Thank
And it
you.
keeps happening. Yeah, people defend it to the grave. My partner loves mint chocolate, but I think she also gets it because she knows that I'm never going to eat her mint chocolate. So maybe it's like a strategic move because I'm a fiend with my sweet tooth. Sometimes I can't help myself. A few times we've had chocolate that we were meant to share, and I can't help myself. I'm an animal. Once I get started, I can't stop.
Yeah.
So I have to be restrained, I think.
What would you say is your biggest hot take when it comes to sweet treats?
Oh, ah, I don't know if this is like a hot take, but a lot of people knock vanilla ice cream as bland.
Love vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, right. You always hear the comparison vanilla ice cream is bland or vanilla means bland, right?
Yeah.
But to me, vanilla is like, they're like the poster child of ice cream. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
That's
hmm
like the standard.
Yeah.
So that to me, I mean, I'm never disappointed when I have vanilla ice cream. It's not my go-to personally, but if I have vanilla ice cream, I'm not upset.
Yeah.
But lots of people are like, oh, vanilla, why would you like vanilla ice cream? Do you have the taste buds of a 5-year-old? And I think vanilla ice cream is goaded. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's definitely a top three for me. I'm personally cookies and cream, but then again, that the cream part is vanilla ice cream, though, you know?
yeah, Ella, that's my favorite ice cream. Cookies and cream is my go-to. So
Did
I
we
can
just
see
become
why we're
best
getting
friends, Big
along. I
Fudge?
think we did. I can see why we're clicking so well.
Yeah, I will apps. There's not many like chocolates or ice creams that I won't eat. Mint is not is I will not eat that, and I will not do coconut with chocolate. So like I don't know if it's the same in Australia, but like Mounds and like Almond Joys, I will not do because they have coconut in them. I don't like hate coconut, but like it doesn't do anything for me. Mint though, I hate with chocolate.
Yeah. We have a chocolate. It must be an Australian exclusive. I think they're called
Maybe.
Bounty Bars. Um, that's like our Australian chocolate with coconut in it, and it's okay, but it's just okay. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing insulting, but it's nothing amazing either. But if I have a mint chocolate, like I am
Oh
personally
yeah,
offended.
that so it has the same that's definitely your version of our almond joy because it has the coconut and like the tropical trees. Yeah, that's your version of our
Yeah,
almond
I think
joys.
so. Sounds right.
Interesting. Well, this has been I was gonna ask you, is there any sweet treat that you'd turn down? But obviously we already agreed that like to
Maybe actually,
Hmm,
I don't particularly like dark chocolate.
okay.
So I've tried that a few times. It still needs to grow on me because
Yeah.
it's something that I don't I don't particularly go out of my way to eat. So dark chocolate is something I would easily pass on. Uh, even actually, maybe this sounds controversial. Maybe this is my hot take. I don't really like plain chocolate ice cream because to me, I feel like I don't know
Too
what the right word
chocolatey then?
is. It's too maybe chocolatey. Maybe it's too like overpowering the taste.
Yeah.
I think if it's mixed with something else, it goes pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't just have like just plain chocolate ice cream by
Mm.
itself. So maybe that's my controversial take. Considering I've got like scoops of like chocolate ice cream on my head,
Mhm.
maybe I'm I don't maybe I'm a liar. Maybe I'm a phony because of
No,
that.
I
But
mean, okay, I know it's not this, but it does look like you have like I know it's gold, but like it does look like you have like a strawberry kind of a little bit going on.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
except
the
the green is
idea
gold. But yeah, get it. But yeah, yeah.
it's meant to be like a wrapper opening.
Yeah.
That's the idea. I don't think it the mask is just what it is, and I've continued this type of design for all this time because I this is just what people know me as now. But the idea is it's a chocolate bar coming out the top. It's a wrapper opening, but there have been lots of different interpretations. And wrestling is art, and I'm an artist,
Yes,
so I don't
that's
mind if
true.
people get a different idea about whatever all this is going on here. There's a lot going on. It's a lot to take in, so people can make their own minds up.
Two more questions for you. Obviously, you're wearing the iconic mask today. Is that the only current mask that you have, or do you have multiple of them? Like you have a collection?
Okay, I do have this is the main mask I've worn for the last couple of years, last
Yeah.
probably more than a couple of
Because
years,
I'd
probably
be
the last
afraid
three.
something would happen. So I would have like backups upon backups, to be honest with you. But that's just me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's completely valid. And I've had like past versions of the mask. They kind of age after a while, and it's not easy to get this mask because the gentleman
Yeah,
that designs these masks, Jade Masks, is over in Mexico. I think he
right.
does a lot of great work for a lot of the top luchadors around the world, I think. So usually if I order a mask, it can be like within 3 to 6 months of a wait before I get it. So
Mm.
what actually happened was last year I ordered two new masks because there'd been a stretch since COVID. I think I got my last new mask around COVID times, and then it was a few years after that. I've just had this mask. And it is a pain because if I ever need my mask last second and it's like dirty or whatever, it's annoying, and I've always got to wash it, and it's the
Gotta
main
breathe
one,
it
and the
in then.
coloring fading out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now I've got two new masks. One is pink, like a slightly lighter shade. So here's a teaser for Saturday. Hopefully, I'm going to debut with that new mask and some new gear, which is similar but different. And I also have a new mask, which you might see in the future, which is very different. Something about it is very different to anything I've done before.
Do you still have
And
your
I have a
signature chocolate bar though?
still has the
Okay.
signature chocolate bar.
Okay.
It's just it's a different color. It's a
Okay.
different type of
Oh.
fudge. So we might see that later on in the year. I've had some interesting masks though because I had at one point like a Jushin Thunder Liger inspired mask, which was like a hot fudge sundae with like banana horns coming out the side.
Love
So that
that.
was pretty crazy. I did kind of peeling back the fourth wall here a little bit, but I did another mask character at one point in time called Cat Sabre Jr. So I had
I
like a
love
cat
this.
mask designed for that, which had like fur and whiskers and stuff like that. So I've had some crazy masks over the years, but this is my main mask right now. I've got a few backups, but they're more old and withered and beaten down. So this is my go-to because it looks the freshest until I'm ready to debut my new shiny masks, which is going to be pretty soon, but by looking at the time of things.
Please tell me that Cat Saber faced Zack Saber. Please tell me.
No, but I will give you a very quick story about the origins of Cat Sabre Jr.
Okay.
I really like, even though I never incorporate it as fudge, I
Yeah.
really like technical wrestling and chain wrestling.
Yeah.
I also really like cats. So that nickname, I got it like years ago when I was already performing as Fudge on shows. And then we had an international show here from World Series Wrestling where they brought over a bunch of international talents. And
Yeah.
Zack Sabre Jr. was one of the talents they brought over. And I'd kind of had this nickname for like a year at training. And I thought, like, I was already doing the fudge thing, but I wanted to try something else as an experiment. And that night after the show, I approached Zack Sabre Jr. and he was actually a few drinks in. He'd been drinking some stuff that night, and what had actually happened was he was actually kind of like, I won't name any names, but he was actually kind of stuck in the corner. Someone was kind of like, they had him hostage in a conversation I could clearly see he didn't want to be
Hmm.
in. And I came over just to kind of give him that out and give him that
Yeah.
escape. And as soon as I chatted to him, he was able to get out of that conversation. But then I asked him, I was like, do you care if I do this character based on you, kind of, called Cat Sabre Jr.? And he gave it the seal of approval. So I might not have done that character if he didn't give me the thumbs up, but he was such a gentleman about it. He was extremely positive. So yeah, because of him, I got to do that silly character for a little while, and it disappeared. Maybe one day I'll bring it back. We'll see.
We gotta have, well, also need Big Fudge. I mean, maybe it's already happened. I don't know. I need Big Fudge versus Zack Sabre Jr. in my life.
Yeah, that would be cool. I wouldn't complain about that. We'll see. I don't think I've never wrestled an overseas competitor. I don't think so. Maybe, but I've definitely never wrestled. Like, we always have had shows in PWA and other companies I've wrestled for as
Mm,
well. Oh, here's the big international star. Oh, here's
yeah.
the draw for this show. Here's this person from WWE, from New Japan, from AEW, from the Indies. And I'm never the guy in the matches against those talents. But recently, in the last couple of years, I've started doing a lot of things I never thought I was going to do. So maybe I will be the guy that wrestles someone like Zack Sabre Jr. And maybe I'll be the next PWA Heavyweight Champion. We'll see. A lot of things
You
I thought were never going to happen have come to life.
you need to give a big nudge to Robbie Eagles because he has that tie to New Japan. Like, yo,
Yeah,
Robbie, it's Zack Sabre over here again
it's his
to wrestle Big
stablemate,
Fudge.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So surely they've got a group chat or something. You can just drop him a message and tell him to come back over. I think
Start the
Zack Sabre
petition.
Jr. might owe someone else in PWA a match before me, though. I think he owes Jessica Troy a match.
Yeah.
And I think that would
Yes,
be
that's
incredible
true.
because she's one of the best technical wrestlers in the world.
Yes.
So I'd love to see that. And I think he owes that match to her
Yeah,
before he
because
owes
he
me a match.
yeah, because he won Coliseum and the sword, I think. And then I might not be remembering. I don't know if they had the match.
No, they
I
didn't.
might, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't think it's happened yet. It's been about at least 2 or 3 years. Like, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the champion at the time, and he
Yes.
did name her
Yes.
specifically in his speech after he won the belt,
Right.
after he won, sorry, the Coliseum tournament. So, yeah, I'd still love to see that match one day,
So you're
personally.
second in line. So
Yeah, second
Robbie
in line. Happy
Eagles,
to be
you know
second.
what you have to do.
Get the ball rolling, Robbie, please.
No, final question. We are now in 2026. Still doesn't feel real to me. I'm still living in the past. But what would you say are obviously winning the PWA Heavyweight Championship, but what are some of your other personal and professional goals for the new year?
I definitely want to wrestle in more promotions. I think that's a goal I tried to tick off last year and I got to a few places, but I'd like to do more. So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to wrestle outside of Sydney and go interstate in Australia, fly to some different places. And I'd really like to wrestle overseas at some point. I don't know if this is going to be the year for it. I've got a feeling that maybe it could be, but that's something I've never done in my entire time in wrestling overseas. And I think something I might have alluded to previously in this conversation, I want to keep changing the perception of what Big Fudge is. I think lots of people look at me and they think Big Fudge is exactly this. And they limit what I can do because of that. I'm a silly guy, I'm a side attraction, I'm an entertainer, whatever it might be. Even people that like me have those perceptions and put those limitations on me. So I think I'd like to break out of those perceptions. And the real perception I'd like to gain is the perception of a star, of a main event player. That's what I'm trying to push towards. I want to be one of the top people in PWA. It's not an easy thing to achieve because we have such a stacked competitive roster. But I've kind of stuck around long enough now where I've watched enough people come and go, and I'm still here. And I feel like I have something special about me that not every other performer has. So I think this is the year where Big Fudge really breaks out as a star. I think that's my goal. I want to be that main event guy. I want to be viewed as one of the top players, not just in PWA, but Australia. And I've got some work to do that. So those are the goals right now.
Well, definitely what a way to start that journey than by winning the PWA Heavyweight Championship. I'm sure that'll definitely sway some, maybe change some minds of a lot of people. They can't really deny you then, you know. But
You're
like
right.
you said, it's all about the evolution, and the journey, regardless of what happens. There is, I'm sure, not a lot of people that can say that they've had their first pro wrestling match be for a heavyweight championship. So nobody can take away that from you ever. And obviously, I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to this match coming up on January 17th at PWA Hottest 100 Party coming up in Marrickville, Australia. Before we let you go, Big Fudge, please let the listeners know where they can find you online and support you.
I'm butt puncher underscore on X and Instagram, and on Facebook I might be the butt puncher or something like that. I'm not sure. If you really want to know, look up Big Fudge on Facebook and
Yeah,
you'll figure it out.
yeah.
So those are the main places to keep up with what I'm doing. I'm most active on Instagram personally. That's where I seem to update the most about when my shows are happening, when they're happening, and what I'm doing. But yeah, PWA Hottest 100 this Saturday, January 17th. You can watch it live on YouTube or you can watch it delayed on YouTube if you can't
Yep.
watch it live because it's at 3 a.m. or some ridiculous time if you're
Yeah.
overseas.
I always like watching it when I wake up on it would be Saturday morning then the day after
Great
here
way to start your
so
day.
absolutely. Thank you so much for again for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure and go punch some butt on January 17th.
I'm going to punch some butts. And Ella, thank you so much. I really appreciate your incredible professionalism. I appreciate you for constantly shining a light onto Australian wrestling, helping the little guys back here fight the good fight, get the attention we deserve because we've got some of the best talent in the world, like you know. And I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to yap a whole bunch about this match that means so much to me this weekend. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Wishing you the best of luck and maybe as of Saturday and new. We'll see what happens. Gonna the good fight. Put up that good fight, Big Fudge. Thank you so much again.
Fingers and toes across the walk away champion. No, I really enjoyed our chat, Ella. So thank you so much. Everyone tune in. I'm going to either have the best performance of my career or it's going to be not so much the best performance of my career. But you know what? It's going to be a banger show. PWA, Hottest 100, January 17th, live on YouTube. What more could you want? Some of the best wrestling in the world. Tune in, please.
Thank you. And tune in, guys.